Welcome to NBNR, the authority on unfiltered opinions and authentic player insight for Nebraska athletics. Connect with us on Twitter, Instagram, and at nbnrpodcast.com.
We have the saying, no block, no rock.
You know, we just really love Utter. He's a junkyard dog.
Kenny Bell ran up to me. He's like, you know what you just did?
You get mad when you go get in the portal and go to another podcast?
You know, usually dumbbells are in pairs. They had 5 dumbbells.
Dang on it, Muhammad!
GBR.
Let it play.
Oh,
The little guitar going ring.
Yeah. It's kind of nice. It's relaxing.
It's 3. All right, I'm going to believe Mike on this.
Yes.
Go Big Red indeed. No block, no rock. Season 4, episode 3.
Yep.
Mike is very strict about our episode numbers.
Hey, I just
You know,
have
when
them
he's-
organized.
When he's editing, he's got to have it's got to line up perfect.
Yeah.
Mike is good at counting.
I don't blame
Most
him.
times.
Jared got a haircut between now and the last time we recorded, which was Sunday.
You did?
That was the old hair. You know, that was the losing hair.
Sure.
Still had
looks
that
good.
had that stink on it.
Hey,
You know,
new hair, new team.
that's right.
That's what people say.
New hair, new team, new result. Please, God. Okay, guys, we are in the Nebraska Brewing Company Tap Room, 108th and Harrison, La Vista, Nebraska, 68128. I am drinking a good game. I don't need to defend my drinkage of this
It's a good beer.
libation.
It is a very good beer.
Crisp. It's a Tuesday. Just, guys, it's Tuesday.
Feels strange.
Take it easy. All right. Get a good game. Get 1 or 2. You'll feel okay. We are over the loss from last week. We are moving on. We are drinking a good game.
It's week 2.
It's week 2.
It's week 2.
Week 2, baby.
It's week
Hey,
2.
You're drinking a good game.
It's week 2.
We're hoping for a good game. That's all we need.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
Absolutely.
It's not like you serve bad game.
Yeah,
Right?
that's fair.
No, we have good beer here.
Connor, speaking of good beer, Connor.
Speaking of same beer, Connor.
Hey, you don't know what I'm drinking.
Yeah, I do.
Shut up, Mike. I am drinking the Pilsner. He was right. It's every week. You know what it is. I called it on Sunday when we recorded. It's my comfort food. Right now, it's not my comfort food. It's my excitement food.
All right.
I'm ready for this Colorado.
What the hell is excitement food?
I don't know. I made that up.
Ugh.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm
Mike, what-
excited. I'm excited.
Mike, what are you drinking?
I am drinking the Wick for Brains. It is the pumpkin spice season for all you basic bitches, and that's me.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's
That
me.
is Mike.
No, I like Wick for Brains. It's the best pumpkin ale I've ever had. So it's fantastic. If you like pumpkin, come in and get it. It's really good.
Yep. And I'm drinking the Taco Beza. That's 2 weeks in.
God,
or no,
it
that's
feels
That's it. Within 3 days.
yeah, within 3 days. That's 2 in a row.
it feels good to have you back.
Yeah, thank you. I feel
Yeah.
good to be back.
I've missed you, Kyle.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's introduce our very special guest. We have with us Tyler Kai. Now, your official position.
Oof.
Good
luck with this.
Now, we could just say Associate Athletics Director, which is like,
Big time.
mystery.
Sure.
But then you got to add on the I don't know if it's a subtitle or what.
It takes up a second line on a business card. That's all I know. So it's a long title.
Associate Athletic Director of Leadership Gifts and Capital Projects.
That's it.
Which, I mean, that sounds kind of badass.
Yeah,
it does.
It's a long title for basically saying I raise money for the Huskers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes me sound really, really fancy.
Yes. Well, what do you got in your cup over there?
So Connor and I conspired before this. I'm selling him out. No, I'm kidding. We actually did not conspire, but I am drinking the pills. So I'm very excited. The Pilsner here.
Yeah,
Very
it's
excited.
fantastic.
It's a very, very good beer.
Yeah.
So
Tyler
I'm glad
picked
to be here.
Tyler picked the pills and we all went, ugh.
Yep.
Oh, no.
That
We
is
didn't all
true.
do that. There was one of us that was cheering.
It's true.
Yeah.
It is true.
I was very
Yeah.
excited. He's
I
got
earned
good taste.
I earned a lot of points tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got
Yep.
good taste.
That's right.
I'm in his house. Let's be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
Pretty much. He lives here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
We come here like 1 day a week, sometimes 2, and I feel like I live here. Like I feel like I never leave this place, and he works here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pay zero.
I show
rent.
up for work in the morning, and then when work ends, I stay here to the podcast. And I'll tell you what, I haven't regretted a damn second.
Yep.
Why did you move to Iowa? Hey, remember that time we beat Iowa?
Oh, jeez. There we go.
But why did you move to Iowa when you could have just put a mattress in here and you could have just stayed here for free.
It's true.
So it's funny that you say that. I actually have had nights where I've slept on the grain bags. No, it is not because I got too drunk, but there are nights, glycol system goes out. You got to stay at the brewery.
Yeah.
But there have been nights, and it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Good.
Huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Especially the lights up here. Like that
It's
would be
beautiful.
Nice.
It's nice.
It's beautiful.
It's nice. Well, you say that I've got a really cool job. I think that's a pretty cool job.
Yeah.
It is a cool job.
That's a pretty cool job.
I'll trade you.
I think the quality of the beer around here would go down significantly if
so would the Huskers.
Hey, yeah, the quality of the fundraising for Nebraska would go down quite a bit.
We would have zero money.
That wouldn't be good. On either end. That would not be good.
Sleazy salesman with a mustache.
Why did you say sleazy?
You look like I wouldn't buy anything from you.
You look sleazy.
That's fair. I get it.
I'm just saying. I wouldn't give you anything.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's funny because you heard like during the summer that Nebraska is like one of a handful of schools that's like not in debt or whatever, and it's just like, oh, you're putting Connor. Oh, okay.
Well,
sure.
I want to add on that statistic that you're talking about. One of, I believe, 5 programs in the nation that is not like in debt, like you say, and the only one that isn't in debt and accepts no federal subsidies for the athletic department. So
correct.
Tyler really doing his job.
Good job.
over here.
That's correct.
Yeah,
really doing his
Get a
job.
round of applause there for him.
Come on, no debt.
There we go. Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, I play a very small role in that, but I will say it is a pride point of ours. It really is. And I think it should be a pride point of every Husker fan because we don't really know what the future of college athletics looks like. I mean, right? It's changing rapidly. We say that, and it's pretty cliche that we continue to say that. But with conference, you could call it expansion, you could call it consolidation, whatever you want to call it. The landscape is changing tremendously. So for us to not take any state funding, for us to not have any burden on the institution as well from taking any subsidy from the institution and being debt-free, we can pivot however we need to in the new landscape, and we believe that it's a significant advantage for our athletics department. So
Tyler, you're saying those fans that say, we're putting our money in on the coach, they don't do that, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah, okay, I just wanted to check.
There's different ways to finance a lot of that. Yeah, so but it is. I mean, we have several different funds that we have.
I love that.
Yeah, available.
I just do. That's like my favorite thing is those fans that are like, "Oh, we're paying for 5 coaches," and I'm like, "No, you're not. No, you're not.
It's coming out of my paycheck."
What I heard Tyler say when he said, like, we have this significant advantage over a lot of other programs, is that we're winning a national title. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. I did not say that.
Yeah. But it was implied.
Well, here's
he
what
winked when he said that.
I did. I did. That's just a nervous twitch that I have. Yeah. No, listen, but I will tell you, I think that the level that we invest in our athletics department, there's several schools that invest at a high level. The fact that we invest at a high level and are not taking on any debt is a testament to the way we manage our finances. So if you want to take that as an implication that we're positioned to win a national championship, I wouldn't tell you that I disagree with you.
The one thing we could say for sure is, while Nebraska isn't very good on the field, it's got nothing to do with this guy.
No,
Tyler's like
doing his job.
Tyler's like, what else am I supposed to do, guys?
Well, definitely not call plays. You don't want me calling plays. I played some JV football in high school, and that's about it.
I will point out, Tyler, you said you're a small part of it, but I mean, look at these new facilities that Nebraska's rolling out, and you're a part of that.
Absolutely.
I mean, and we talked, I was obviously joking about the national championship thing, sort of. But
what's the goal, though? It's the goal.
Yeah,
Listen,
of course.
we don't build the facilities, hire the coaches, put the infrastructure in place without that being the goal. So, and we're not shy to say that is the goal. I mean, that really is the expectation. We've been to that mountaintop, and we need to get back to that mountaintop. That's why we invested in the Go Big facility. I mean, that really is it. It's the preeminent player development facility for us to win national championships.
I love that.
So that's the fact.
Yeah, and people are like, Nebraska has no right to demand that. And it's like you said, man, we got that taste. We got that taste. You can't get rid of that taste.
We had that taste 5 times.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a taste. I mean, it's more of an identity. Like, we were there, and we stayed there for a while.
Right.
So,
it got to the point where when Nebraska wasn't there, then it's like, hey, let's fire Tom Osborne.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we are far removed from that, obviously. But like you said, I mean, the nicest facilities in the nation, at least as far as we know, we haven't been inside the locker room.
Sure.
I think it's reasonable to have high expectations.
I don't disagree. I do not disagree. And I think we would want people to bring high expectations to the program, right? That's what makes us successful, is when people bring high expectations to the program.
Yeah, you're not trying to raise all this money to finish 5th in the damn West.
Yeah.
That's not the goal.
No. That's not the goal of our coaches, our student athletes, the administration, Trev, no one. I mean, the goal is comprehensive excellence. It really is. So
yeah,
I think that's, again, it's a pride point. Now, it's hard to win games. I will tell you that it's very, very difficult in the landscape when now you've got 65 programs that are investing millions and millions of dollars to try to compete and win. Whereas you could make an argument maybe in the 80s, early 90s, early 2000s, that might have been 25 programs that were investing at the level we were investing at. So everyone is up the ante, which is why a lot of these schools have debt, because they're trying to find ways to finance it. We have not taken on that same approach, but the landscape is getting more and more difficult. Everybody wants to win across all levels. You see a lot of other schools going from Division II up to Division I for that reason specifically, right? Like they are trying to get up to the top. So, yeah, I mean, it's why we do what we do.
So with you being the Associate Athletics Director of Leadership Gifts and Capital Projects, like I'm picturing,
he's going to say the full title. Yeah, he's going to say the full thing every time.
Is there just a simple acronym I can use? Associate AD.
Dog.
Great.
We look for dogs on this podcast. Dog. You know who's a dog? Tyler Kai.
Yep.
Dog.
There you go.
Yeah. You know what? Get rid of all that on your business card. Tyler Kai.
Hear me
dog.
out. Dog. DAWG.
Okay.
Director, Associate of Winning Gifts.
There you go.
Dog.
Huh. No, you might be onto something. So we've changed it to leadership gifts. It might actually be better if we called it winning gifts.
Winning gifts.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Dog.
Okay.
Dog.
Tyler Kai.
Well,
dog.
So with you being the director, winning gifts guy.
Yeah.
So here's what I'm picturing in my mind, and you tell me how accurate I am, how far off base I am. Swanky parties, wooing billionaires and millionaires. Hey, Warren Buffett, come here, buddy, come here. I got a little proposition for you. Hey, let's clink our glasses. Clink, clink. Just kind of, politics, right?
Sure.
Like backroom deals.
Hey,
under the table. Hey, handshake deals. No, so like, just what is the typical day like for you?
So this reminds me of several years ago. Do you remember seeing the memes where it was like 8 pictures and it said what my family thinks I do, what my friends think I do?
Yeah.
That's literally, you just described all of that.
all those
right?
pictures at once.
That's right. Yeah. And some people would think I'm a used car salesman, right? That I'm making slimy deals
Just
under
out
the
hustling.
table, anything. Yeah. No, the best way that I can describe my job is to find ways to partner and connect with our donors, right? So a mentor of mine described fundraising, especially in college athletics, as this, right? If you had somebody who was coming to a church, a synagogue, or a place of worship every week and sat in the same pew every single Sunday or every single Wednesday, whenever, and the leader of the congregation stood up and said, we want to help build, wells in Africa, or we want to build schools in the inner city, and they didn't ask you or your family to be a part of it, wouldn't you be a little bit upset that they didn't think enough of you to ask you to be a part of it? And so college athletics is not much different, right? There are people that have been sitting in the same seats and rows in Memorial Stadium or in the Devaney Center and the Coliseum before that are completely dedicated to coming and supporting the Huskers and want to do their part to help. It's my job to ask them to help. We have a lot of problems we're trying to solve, and we need people to step up and help us. A lot of that comes with donations. Some of that is, the other cliches you hear in fundraising is time, treasure, and talent. So we need some people that can donate their talent. Treasure is obviously the money. And some people, we need them to volunteer and help us out. So that's where that time comes in. So there's a lot of that, those cliches that you can hear. But the way I view my job really is just asking people to help us. And I've worked at a couple different places, and I would say that Husker fans are some of the most generous and committed fans I've ever met in my entire life. So we're very, very fortunate to have the people we have behind us.
So like, instead of swanky parties, it's just like a crap ton of emails.
I have 2 cell phones, gentlemen. So I
Tyler, 2 phones over here.
Flexing them. There you go. So
That's gotta
And I know you know some of the Redcast guys. They've obviously been good friends of mine as well. So a going joke too from that same mentor is that a good fundraiser always carries a pen on them. So I always have a red pen. And the joke is that you never know when somebody wants to write you a check. So I've always got a red pen in case someone wants to write me a check tonight.
All right. Kyle.
I'm looking at you.
New job, Kyle, over here. I'm just saying. So you had mentioned, you were kind of at other places.
Yep.
And so you started off at Tennessee.
Yep.
Which is, you hear that name, it's like, oh, that'll make you raise your eyebrows a little bit.
They had a good quarterback, I think. Like in the night, and he did well against Nebraska. Oh wait,
not well at all.
No, yeah, never mind. The opposite.
You said goated earlier. That is the goat. So yeah, there's no Tennessee
It was a
Manning slander on this podcast.
different word.
Get a mic.
Goated and goated. Two different things.
Yeah,
Yes, Nebraska. Things. So for instance, Nebraska goaded Peyton Manning into throwing interceptions.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
But Peyton Manning goated the NFL. So there you go.
Oh, okay. I think that's a stretch, but
yeah.
So anyway, back to Tyler. Back to Tyler Two Phones.
Tyler Two Phones.
Tyler Two Phones at Tennessee and Tulane.
I like that. That's good diction.
Yeah. I know. So just like comparing Nebraska to like a place like Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I know Tulane probably not the same like up there.
Very,
not
very
as
very different.
Very different.
Very different.
So just comparing Nebraska to those two places, like what's the difference? I know you mentioned we're generous here.
Yeah.
But is there just anything else that is noteworthy?
So I think when I describe my time at a place like Tennessee, the similarities between Tennessee and Nebraska are similar, right? I think iconic brands, iconic stadiums. We've got iconic coaches that have come through our football program. The same with them, right? They've had incredible success in history. General Nealon, Philip Fulmer, et cetera. Great teams that competed for national championships, just as us, right? They had a very, very solid, strong program. Have built massive football stadiums that are sold out. Great crowds, both at Nealon and at Memorial. And then when you start to break it down even further, the Lady Vol women's basketball program is their volleyball program, right? Mm-hmm. So the passion and the support they have in the Lady Vol basketball program there is similar to what we get for volleyball. It's not uncommon for them to get 8,000, 10,000 people to go to a women's basketball game for them. So, and they've competed for championships under Pat's Summit. Mm-hmm. So,
goat.
Yeah, without a doubt, there's the definition of a goat for sure.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, there are similarities. You go anywhere in the state of Tennessee, similar to the state of Nebraska, you will see a Tennessee Vol flag, just like you'll see a Husker flag. People wear orange on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, every day of the week. So coming from a place like that, as well as also, I should pause and say that I grew up a Husker, so I did know a lot of our history before I even got to a place like Tennessee, and I would have said that Tennessee, the same things I'm saying to you today too, right? The similarities between two programs are very reminiscent. And I think even too, if you go a little bit to some of the I hesitate to call it negative because Mike and I, we agreed this is going to be an optimist podcast.
Optimist podcast today.
Tonight. Okay. So, but we lost our way a little bit in the 2000s. Same with Tennessee, right?
Yep.
They went away from what was a program builder and what they had in a program builder. They tried something new and it didn't work, and they haven't really found their way back. Now they've had a lot of success in the last couple of years under Josh Heupel, but they have lost their way a little bit too. So I would even argue like we are at similar pathways. We're trying to reestablish ourselves as the iconic brands that we are and the history that we have with both. Tulane is a private institution in New Orleans, very academically driven. I'm very grateful for my time there. I was there for 5 years. They have a very, very generous and committed base as well, much smaller just because they're a private school. A lesson that I learned from them is with them being a founding member of the SEC in the 1960s, they have unfortunately de-emphasized their athletics program several points throughout their history. So Tulane Stadium was an on-campus stadium that the Sugar Bowl was played in, and it's the Super Bowl. It was the first home of the New Orleans Saints. When they built the Superdome, they tore down Tulane Stadium. From that point on, it really was kickstarting a lot of de-emphasis in college athletics. So what they have been able to accomplish is really, really impressive. They went and won the Cotton Bowl this past year. When I was there, we had never been to back-to-back bowl games. We went to 3 straight and won 2 in a row. So That is a testament, I think, to a vision from the athletics director, having an incredible coach, but then also having a lot of people that stepped up behind it to help them out. So they built an on-campus stadium, and I was there in year 2 of the on-campus stadium. So you can make a clear, in my opinion, mark or line from building an on-campus football stadium to them winning as much as they have and attracting the players and coaches they have. So
that kind of you find a similarity there. You guys are building state-of-the-art. You guys are building a state-of-the-art institution up there right now as far as the facilities go, the coaching staff. So, I mean, you can kind of see, you could draw a line in the sand and say, okay, well, Tennessee, they put an on-campus stadium, did really well after that, and Nebraska is putting in state-of-the-art facilities, and hopefully that equates to something.
Absolutely. Well, I think, listen, just like you probably wouldn't go to McDonald's, Runza, a place that's a dump, right? You want to go to a nice Runza.
Yeah.
You don't want to go to a bad looking Runza. So you always have to be looking at redeveloping, doing research and development. So what is the latest and greatest technology you can incorporate into an experience? So people see that investment as it's attractive. So our recruits view that as an investment. I think our fans view that as an investment. And by the way, guys, coaches view that as an investment too. No coach wants to go to a place that they don't feel like the athletics department wants to support them. So we have a lot of that. There are very few schools in the country, in my opinion, that have alignment, fan support, and tradition. And we have all 3 of those. So that is why I am constantly optimistic about our future, because I just think it just makes too much sense, right? We have a lot of things at our disposal to make sure we can get back to where we need to be.
I mean, folks around here judge places on the type of ranch that they carry. So, I mean, I'm just saying.
That's true. That's true.
It's all about that runny ranch. Come on now.
That's right. So you need to do research and development on ranch, right?
You're right.
Yeah.
So it's no different.
Right.
It's no different. Yeah. Yep.
So you mentioned you were at Tulane for 5 years.
Yep.
And you're a young guy.
I am.
And you were at Tennessee for how long?
About 2 years.
So you have been in like your role, or at least something akin to it, for quite a long time as a young guy. Getting into that role, was it intimidating? Like, what obstacles did you face to get to where you are right now?
Yeah, so it certainly was. Before we got on the show, I was telling you guys a little bit of a story about this. I was glad to turn 30. So I'm 33. I recognize I'm very, very young, but I was very glad to turn 30 because I felt as if, as a 27-year-old soliciting $1 million gifts, it was difficult to earn respect occasionally. So, I'm a good product of mentorship. There's been a lot of people in my life that have helped guide me and coach me, and put me in positions that I could be successful. So, I believe it's my job to do that as well. Right. So there's a lot of young people on my own staff, over in Lincoln that, I'm trying to coach and guide as well, because I know that I wouldn't be here if I didn't have some people looking out for me as well and helping guide me to be successable.
You ever had someone just look you in the eye and say, "No, you're just I'm not giving my money to a baby"?
I had a gentleman at the University of Tennessee that told me that he would not give me money because he thought I was a mercenary.
Oh,
wow. Mercenary.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the way he described it was, I'm not a Tennessee guy. So why would I want to work for a place like Tennessee if I'm not a Tennessee guy? And I said, well, Tennessee's an incredible institution and it's a great athletics department. Why would I not want to work for a place like Tennessee?
Okay, he just sold it right there a little bit.
Well, sure. But so I've never had anyone tell me no because I'm young, but I have had people tell me no because I'm not from the place, right? So, and I am from Nebraska, I will say that. But I also said this last week, because I know that there's a phrase that goes around, Nebraska's not for everybody. I do believe that if you love Nebraska, Nebraska will love you back. So I am from Nebraska. Although I was raised in Iowa. I grew up a Husker. I didn't attend Nebraska, but I love this place a lot. And I think that if somebody does come from the outside or somebody lives in Council Bluffs, and
he looked right at me when he said it.
I looked at the Zamboni behind you.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I looked at the Zamboni.
That's what it was.
Yeah, that you could still love Nebraska, right? Even if you're not from here. So I talked to a lot of fans that live in New York City. So I traveled to New York City. I traveled to the Northeast and Florida, and there are people that are not from here, but I will tell you they bleed Husker red. And they grew up watching the Huskers play. And so that's fun, right? That's fun. So I think it's cool to embrace a little bit of that as well.
So if there's any donors out there watching No Block, No Rock, and they see Tyler Kai and they had any reservations at all,
well, he was at Tennessee. What's he doing here? He was at Tulane.
Tell that donor the story that you told us before about your house.
Yeah.
Where you grew up and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, that might convince a few people, and they're going to go, oh, Nikes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, take my money.
It is a little of an unusual story. And in fact, I think I made Bill Bush blush a little bit when I told him this story after I heard it myself. But
it's good alliteration, by the way.
Yeah. Well,
Bill Bush blush.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Say that 10 times fast.
I can't.
Tell her 2 phones.
I can't. I can't do it. So I was born in Pender, Nebraska, and so after Bill Bush got hired, I sent my mother a note and I said, "Hey, look, we just hired Bill Bush from Pender," and she said, "Well, of course I know that Bill was coming back to the Huskers." She's like, "We've been following his career. He had the same childhood home that you had." So I lived in Pender for about 3 years before we moved to Des Moines. But Bill Bush and I shared the same childhood home, which is probably the most Nebraska thing I think I've ever heard in my entire life.
In Pender, Nebraska.
Pender,
not Omaha.
No.
Pender.
It's pretty wild. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Did you find out which bedroom he stayed in versus what you stayed in?
Did you get really deep into it?
No, we did not, because I think he was trying to coach special teams at the time,
weird.
and I was like, "Coach, you probably should go back." No, I'm teasing.
Coach, did you use this bathtub too?
Dude, the water line sucked here, man.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but yeah, pretty unusual story.
Yeah.
So
Yes, it is.
So going back to the Go Big Red project, can you talk a little bit about that? Compare it to other places you've been. What I guess, and you probably in your role have seen, when we were preparing for having some of the best facilities in the country.
Yep.
Even though the previous ones weren't even that bad, but
no, they're very good.
yeah,
they're very good.
Can you compare, like, who did we look at? Who are we trying to be? Or like, did we take a little bit of this, take a little bit of that? Like, what went into all that, and where does it stack out now?
Sure. So the to address like the current facilities we have in the Tom and Nancy Osborne complex. So those were built in 2006. So we were probably one of the first programs in the country to start building a football centered performance facility. Okay. So when we built it for an 85 to 100 man roster. So although the facilities are in pretty good condition because they're barely 20 years old, they're just not big enough. Right. So we carry a much larger roster. We need more space. We probably didn't develop the facility knowing that we needed more square feet. Okay. So we've outgrown the square feet that we had, which is why we were looking to make a larger facility. Since 2006, almost every Power 5 school has built a facility. Okay. So they took from us what we developed, made it better, stole from each other, have introduced new things. The game has changed a lot, obviously, since 2006. So new things have come on. So we are now bookending it, right? So everyone built new facilities. We were the first. We anticipate being one of the last, really, because it's a significant enhancement to be able to do it. So there's very few programs that I think have plans to go back and redo their facilities. So we went around the country. We looked at a lot of different places. We took a lot of components from it. I was not here when we did all of that, but hearing stories that we spent a lot of time relying on experts that had helped develop those facilities. So what you'll see is a lot of it is pieces of like Clemson and how efficient Clemson is with their facility, as well as places like Texas A&M, Texas, Alabama, et cetera. Some of these programs that have had success in recent years and what they've been doing. We've also been able to add some new things that a lot of other programs don't have. So Texas A&M just opened up this past week their enhancement to an indoor facility. They have a couple rooms that are called walkthrough rooms, similar to ours. They have 2 of them. The one thing I will say that may be an advantage for them is that they have 2, one for offense, one for defense, but theirs is not nearly as big as ours. So I think we also thought about, if we're going to make this investment, how can we make this investment in a way that is timeless, right? That we can ensure we can grow into it, and we're never going to regret not doing it. Right. So the walkthrough room is that we spent a lot of time on recovery. Recovery has become very important in what we do. So in addition to that, efficiency. So we looked at a lot of the steps from a player coming off the field to getting into their locker room to take off their gear. So step by step, where do they need to go? Well, we would like them to go in and get recovery. We'd like them to get into a hot or cold tub after practice. If they need to go and get treatment, they can go right across the hallway, right into sports medicine. So that's all very efficient. And then they can go right back into the locker room. So they're not having to walk from one end of the building to the other end of the building. It's all intended to be very, very efficient. So I'd say that's probably the biggest advantage, is looking at a bunch of different schools that maybe have had to piecemeal together what they did. We had a blank canvas and we could develop one of the best facilities in the country.
So nice.
Yeah.
Love that.
And it is also, it's equipped to be able to expand. So we added some additional infrastructure that if we ever needed more square feet, we could actually build up a little bit. So
wow,
it was really smart, really forward thinking in my opinion.
Yeah.
What would you say is like your favorite part of the project? Like, is there like just a huge slide going down somewhere for like no reason? Like I think I saw Clemson did have that, or just like just a giant slide. It's like, why? But okay. Is there anything like just fun or just unique that Nebraska has that maybe someone else doesn't? Or it's all just very, very football.
Well,
football serious.
I think the way the facility was developed is that there are business sides of the facility, right? Like the locker room is intended to be a space where we're preparing for battle. The recovery area is intended for a place for them to recover and get better. So if they're trying to get a nap in the sleep room, any of that, like that is intended to be a very serious side of the facility. Whereas we have a player's lounge. So there's some fun things that are in that facility. They're outside of the facility. We have an academic center and a training table. So there's an unbelievable cafeteria now for all of our student athletes to use. That's pretty fun. I mean, it sounds ridiculous for me to say that a cafeteria is fun, but the way we designed it, it feels like it's more welcoming, right? It's not just like a cafeteria you'd see anywhere. So there's spaces for kids to be able to hang out, student athletes to be able to spend some time with each other. So that's really important. I really cannot understate, the walkthrough room. It is incredible. I mean, it's just an absolutely genius investment. The ceiling height in it is large enough for us to throw in. I mean, it's a football field. And the Dallas Cowboys have one of these, but theirs is about 10 yards deep. Ours is about 30 yards deep. I mean, it's really, really impressive.
Come on, Jerry.
That's right. So
he doesn't have Tyler Kai working for him. That's why.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones could use you.
So I'd say most of our resources were spent on those development things and less on the, casual slides.
We love that.
They have a bowling alley at Clemson. I've been to Clemson's facilities. It's cool. It is cool. And I think part of it is that they really wanted, because I knew some of the folks at Clemson, they really wanted a facility that the student athletes could spend time in. So they didn't want them to go elsewhere.
Right.
They wanted them to be in the facility because that was a comfortable place for them to be.
Make it feel like home.
Right.
I do love that you say we didn't get a slide, we didn't get a bowling alley, because I swear to God, if I saw week 3, like torn ACL slide, I would have just died inside a little bit. So I'm very glad that, like you said, it is still making it fun, making it a home for these players,
absolutely,
while still being a very professional environment. Like we're here to accomplish goals.
That's right.
This is a place where you're going to be comfortable and still be able to get that done.
Absolutely.
So Tyler, you have to answer this question.
Oh, geez.
So they released those videos of like the locker room and everything.
Yep.
And I remember in the mock-ups, they had these kick-ass chairs.
These
in
white
the
space chairs.
Yes. These they came out of the universe, right?
Yep.
Then when the video came out, they were in like these kind of leather stools, very nice leather stools
They do look
in the
nice.
locker room.
Sure.
Are the futuristic chairs coming? Or did they get thrown in the trash?
So it's funny you say this because I did receive several DMs and direct tweets about this.
You need to answer the question.
Yeah, and I don't know if I have an official answer for you. But this is based off of some conversations that I've had with other people that have played college football, as well as other coaches, etc. The chairs are less comfortable when you have your pads on.
Yeah, because they curve in, right?
Yeah. You're leaning up against the chair back. Okay. So the stool is more comfortable for you to be sitting on with your pads.
Okay.
So you don't have, so who knows if that's the right answer, but I could tell you that is what other individuals told me.
That's a great answer.
That makes sense.
Make more sense for getting, again, in the locker room is for getting ready for practice and games.
For battle.
And not to hang out. So if you're putting on your pads and you're getting ready, you need something that makes it easier and more comfortable to get your pads on and get ready.
That is such a good answer. That makes total sense.
But okay, well, I hope, and I'm not sure if that's the official answer, but I'll tell you that's the answer that I've been telling everybody.
I mean, you make me a believer.
Cool. Yeah. All right, great.
I love that.
You're very convincing.
Perfect.
Now I know how he gets money out of people.
Yeah. You know what? I love it. He's got that. You need it?
All right.
Do you need it?
I will sign you a check for $8.76. That's all I have to my name, but it's all yours.
I think that's a great segue to go into our break, top off our beers, and come right back.
Sounds good.
Sweet.
Cash moves everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
We have the saying, no block, no rock.
Thanks, Troy. How fitting.
Yeah.
Cash rules everything around me. Tyler, get the money.
Dollar bill, yo.
I like that.
It
Yeah,
just
that was good.
feels
That's good.
appropriate.
Listen, that's good energy.
Yeah, that's
like
a vibe.
That's good
for
energy
sure.
right there.
Wu-Tang
I like
forever.
it.
Wu-Tang
I like
forever. Before, yes, that's right. Throw that W up. Before we left, we were talking about the facilities and, kind of what separates Nebraska and going forward. And speaking of going forward, there's going to be a lot of changes to Memorial Stadium within the next, we'll just say, 10 years is being generous, right? 10 years.
Yeah, I'd say that's generous. Yeah. Let's go 3 to 5. 3 to 5.
3 to 5.
Yeah.
And, we all, I don't know who all filled it out, but we all got those surveys. And
Yep.
I filled it out.
Well, thank you for filling it out.
Proud season ticket holder.
We use that data, so thank you for filling it out.
And it was definitely you pouring through every detail,
That's right. I read all 22,000 responses that we received.
That was it? That's all you got for responses?
That's right.
22,000?
Yeah. So when we put together that survey, it was pretty interesting. The group that helped us assemble the survey and distribute the survey and do the data analysis on it was like, well, so, how many are we expecting to get? And we're like, well, what have other schools gotten? And they're like, well, we get a lot of 7 to 10,000 responses, and we go,
oh, hold my beer.
This is Nebraska.
We're probably going to get a few more than that. So when
that was at Tulane.
Yeah, that's right. When we got over 20,000, they were pretty pleasantly surprised, which was a good data sample. We're very happy that we got that. Because I'm telling you, it impacts a lot of what we're trying to do. So the number one feedback that we got was seat comfort. So trying to address seat comfort in Memorial Stadium is a top priority. We were also pleasantly surprised by the fact that most people either had a positive or neutral response to alcohol sales in the stadium. So if you were at Garth Brooks or Volleyball Day Nebraska, we have a little bit of some work to do when it comes to making it a easily accessible amenity. We want it to be a positive experience for everyone. We do not want it to be negative. So waiting in a line for 45 minutes to an hour is not acceptable. So we've got some infrastructure work that we need to do in order to make sure that is that we're ready to handle that. So Pinnacle Bank Arena, men's and women's basketball this past year, we offered it, and that's because they're equipped for it. Memorial Stadium, as a 100-year-old stadium, is just not equipped.
Okay, so on that topic though, we were like just talking about this in Minnesota, and we're like, what exactly does it take to serve alcohol at that level? At Memorial Stadium, what exactly is it? Because we keep hearing we're not built for alcohol sales right now. What's the difference, I guess? And
well,
Connor kind of
beer carts and everything else.
Sure.
So I think, and this is coming from
You're the expert over here. Yeah, you're the expert.
Coming from Beer Guy, how they serve the beer is,
Beer Guy.
That is going to be, their decision. Frankly, I see that the easiest way is selling it in the 25-ounce cans like you saw at Garth Brooks and Volleyball Day. What I think is the most interesting issue at Memorial Stadium is actually something we talked about during the break, and that's the restroom situation.
Mm-hmm.
That is the part that I think Nebraska really needs to address. If you're going to sell alcohol in the stadiums, the restrooms need to get, maybe a little bit modernized.
Sure.
So I guess
that's true.
Yeah, what
that's
are your
true.
concerns?
Yeah. So we see more point of sale is going to be important for us to be able to make the lines less. We need refrigeration if we're going to have cans. If we decide to do kegs, we would need spaces to be able to put kegs, run keg lines, all of it. So there's a lot of so when we went to Purdue last year, we toured Lucas Oil Stadium. Lucas Oil Stadium is a newer stadium.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
It's America's team.
And the goats outside.
There you go. Hey,
I'm a Colts fan.
all right.
So
how about that? I switched it up though. By the way, I'm doing no block, Bach.
No Bach, no rock.
No rock.
No Bach, no rock.
Yeah.
Sorry, gentlemen. I didn't mean to offend you.
No,
you
that's
just
it's fantastic.
For
it's
the
very,
beer,
very good. So
for the beer, you just drop the L because we don't take those.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
Did you do that? You made this, didn't you?
No.
Okay. Okay.
I was
You're a Pilsner guy.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. All right. All right.
That is what
We'll
I'm
stick to
drinking,
Pilsners
but-
then.
Yeah.
No, but it is great. It's an unbelievable facility. They have an entire room, probably honestly as big as this facility, that is lined with kegs. They bring a semi truck down from the loading dock and they load the kegs in and they connect them all on the keg lines. That's pretty efficient. We are dealing with trying to probably retrofit Memorial Stadium to be able to do that. We just don't have that. So trying to find ways to introduce some of those things to it would be beneficial. But then also, to your point, restrooms. So all stadiums that offer alcohol sales do not allow pass outs. So the folks that are used to going out to their tailgate at halftime or leaving the stadium at halftime, alcohol sales in any other stadium where there's alcohol, or stadiums where there's alcohol sales, they do not allow that. So with that means that people are staying in the stadium longer. So they need restrooms to be able to use a restroom at halftime as opposed to leaving and using a porta potty or anything like that. So that alleviates some of the pressure for us currently. But keeping people in the stadium for that entire time, we need to address the restroom situation as well. So you're right. You're absolutely right. And they, you're baiting me a little bit because we talked about the troughs. So I appreciate what you're trying to do here.
Connor's a big trough guy. Big trough guy. Big beer guy, big trough guy.
He's a little guy in a big trough.
Yeah. It provides a sense of community when you're shoulder to shoulder.
I knew he was baiting me.
Sense of community.
I knew where this was going.
Yeah.
When you're pissing by your brethren.
I knew this was happening.
Yeah. You know, you're getting to know your fellow fan.
You're standing shoulder to shoulder.
Sometimes maybe a little bit too much, but you know,
And
that's what we do.
You just turn your head slightly and you go, how about that interception?
In all kinds of weather.
Oh no, my
in all kinds of weather.
My favorite.
All kinds of
My favorite.
Why is it raining? It's raining on my.
My favorite comment at the trough is just loudly saying, "Water's cold today, boys."
Yeah, you're such an idiot.
Yes,
I hate you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Thanks for sticking up for me.
he's still on our podcast.
Yeah,
somehow
they can't get rid of me. They've tried several times. They've recorded different locations. I still show up.
We love you in your own way. You're a unique cat.
Thank you.
This is just a question that I have, and I don't know how deep you can really get into this. So tell me to shut up. I won't take offense. In like 2 years, let's just say, you know, it's September 2nd. I'm walking into Memorial Stadium in 2 years. Like, what does it look like? What does Memorial Stadium look like? What does North Stadium, South Stadium? What are we looking at in 2 years?
Yeah. I wish I had a good answer for you. I don't. So we're working through the feasibility and the feasibility studies with HDR and HTMB, which is our architecture firm that is going to be helping us with the stadium project. We're trying to understand the full scope of the project. So I will tell you it's going to be a big project. The priority here is we talked about the Go Big campaign and the Go Big facility before the break. A lot of that will vacate some space in Memorial Stadium. So the first 2 floors of the North Stadium are going to all move to the new facility, and the first floor on the west side moves to the new facility. So we have about 100,000 square feet in Memorial Stadium that will be vacant when the new facility is complete.
Kegs.
Yeah. Only kegs. That's right. But and restrooms.
Yeah, there we go.
Kegs and restrooms. I didn't forget. I got
troughs right next to the kegs.
I see you.
I didn't forget you. But so while we have all that square feet available, we want to make sure that we're making decisions with that in addition to everything else we would like to accomplish all in one plan. So we don't want to make a decision about what will happen on the west side, first floor, without understanding what could happen in the North Stadium or the South Stadium or even the East side. So the increasing fan access to the stadium is going to be important. So we want to make sure people egress is good. We don't want people having to walk up 99 rows in order to get to their seats. We don't want anyone to have to walk very far for a restroom or concession stand. We want seat comfort to be a top priority. So my anticipation would be that it will include making a 360 concourse at Memorial Stadium. So it's easier access around the stadium from a wayfinding perspective. It didn't quite work at Minnesota for any of the folks that went up to Minnesota. They had fewer gates. They were supposed to be larger gates, but it did take a long time to get in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
We want to avoid that. We have a lot of gates at Memorial Stadium, but maybe looking at how can we get people into Memorial Stadium faster, as well as getting them back out. The priority really is from start to finish of your game day. So if you are on your couch or packing up your car in your garage, what does your experience look like the moment you pull out of your driveway to the moment you get back in your driveway? So infrastructure, roads, getting in, where you park, how you get from your parking spot into the stadium, what your experience is in the stadium, tailgating, just anything that we can possibly do to modernize the experience. Some people have very established tailgating. Some people would rather just show up and have a beer garden to be able to go into, right? Or to be able to grab something at a restaurant nearby and be able to then go into the stadium, right? So it's trying to find ways to look at the way all of the stadiums around the country have modernized their fan experience and what can we do to introduce them at Nebraska, with the exception of losing sight about what makes a unique experience about Nebraska football. So it's still staying true to what is iconic about our stadium and our fans.
To boil it down to 2 words, fan focused.
Bingo.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah, I'm seeing a pattern.
I don't have much brevity, did I? There was no brevity in what I said.
No, I loved it.
Okay.
No, you explained it way better than the 2 words I put out.
No, but you hit it on the head.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. There's a pattern here, though. You guys are talking about the efficiency of what are the players doing from the time they leave the field, walk into the facilities and back. What are the fans doing as soon as they leave their driveway, getting to the stadium and back? Like, I just think that's cool because we're talking about the stadium renovations and stuff, and I'm not even thinking about the stuff around the stadium coming into Lincoln. Like,
he sparked something in my brain because I leave my house at anywhere from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. every Saturday, no matter what time the game is. I get down, I tailgate, we run generators, we run satellites, we run all that stuff. Is there a way to make that experience better for people like that? I don't know. I know that under the bridge they have some like satellites and stuff like that, but maybe there's a way to make us people that are out in the baseball field a little bit better. I don't know.
I think we see it like this is a fan show. Like, I don't want to shock you. Like, we're not professional reporters. But like we see like a game day in like 4 steps.
Sure.
Leave home, tailgate, game, get home. And Tyler, I think you see this as a 10,000 step journey.
Sure.
Because there are a lot of little steps in there. And as you're talking, you're accounting for steps that, we encounter and we're a part of, but we're not really taking into account, this could be better, but you are.
Yep.
And it sounds like the entire administration the university is taking that into account.
Well, and I'll give Trev all the credit on that. I mean, that's really his vision for what Trev wants to do. I think Trev has an amazing ability to take a large vision and find ways to implement it. So I think we're in good hands under his leadership when it comes to that. So it is trying to find ways to not paint a broad paint stroke here that, Mike, you like to come and tailgate early. Yeah. There are also people that don't like to tailgate.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, let's be honest. There's some people that just don't. They'd rather just go, park their car, and get into the stadium quickly. We are up against the living room. So you've got a fridge full of food, beer, whatever you want, comfortable couch.
No troughs.
No troughs at all.
No shoulder to shoulder with some strange guy.
If there's no trough, I'm not coming.
He's a weird cat.
But that's what we're up against. So we've got to find ways to bring people to the stadium and make that an attractive experience. And so, it's trying to find ways to implement all of that so everybody has a positive experience at the stadium.
Okay. So I was just about to say that you can take this straight back to Lincoln. But we trust in Trev.
Yeah.
We tit real hard around here.
Yeah, we're big tit boys.
Yeah.
Yes, Tyler.
All about titting around here.
Troughs, tits,
yeah, man,
2 phones.
Unbelievable. There's a lot of T's.
Hey,
Tyler.
Trust in trough. I'm going to make my own merch.
Trust in trough. Trust in Tyler. Trust in 2 phones.
Trough Alberts.
But that's a good point, Tyler. Like, my dad, he has been a Nebraska fan. I mean, he's got Herbie tatted on his chest. Like, he's been a Nebraska fan his whole life, right? And me trying, like, I'll buy tickets, right? And I'll say, hey, you want to go with me? And he'll go. Sure. But at the end of the day, you really are battling the living room. That guy will 100% sit on the couch in peace. And because ultimately, like, we're talking about the troughs and we're talking about the crowds and we're talking about all this stuff that you have to get through just to get to the game.
And the interstate, the traffic.
And so just to hear about that the university is really like thinking about it on a molecular level, like it's good to hear because ultimately I think you'd get a lot more people, I guess, interested maybe in just showing up to a game that a lot of people, there's a lot to go through.
Good news for
It's
Roger.
friction.
Yeah.
It's friction.
Yeah.
Right. How
Yep.
can we make it it's a buzzword, right? But how can we make it as frictionless as we possibly can?
Right.
Right. Any of these businesses that we like to go to, any of the places we like to visit, they make it convenient and easy for us to experience it and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're creating barriers or obstacles for anyone to have a good time, that's not a good recipe for long-term success. And this goes back to what we talked about at the very beginning of the show. This is about us trying to make sure that we're well positioned for the future of college athletics. So modernizing Memorial Stadium for the future is important because it secures us as an incredible fan experience that allows people to come back in. It generates revenue for the department. We want to find ways to monetize the stadium as much as we possibly can. It is a massive footprint for us to only use 7 Saturdays out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So Garth Brooks concerts, Volleyball Day in Nebraska, all of those things pull back into using this iconic venue that every person in the state of Nebraska reveres.
It loves it.
And use it more,
Mhm.
right? How can we get more people to come in as much as we possibly can?
More
Right.
concerts? More volleyball days? Is that what you're saying?
That was exactly my question.
That's
You mentioned
not breaking news.
You mentioned Volleyball Day. Do
Yeah.
you, and I know you're not making these decisions, but do you see Volleyball Day happening maybe as a yearly thing?
So I don't know about a yearly occurrence, but I do think that the way that it worked was very, very positive. And a lot of people that I talked to during Volleyball Day in Nebraska, when we talked about breaking the record, they're like, well, so we're going to try to break our record next year, right?
Break our own record.
Right. And it's like, well, we own the record, but like, why don't we own the first and second place record, third place, and
What a
fourth place?
flex that would
It's
be.
unbelievable, right? So
What
it's
a
just pretty
flex.
cool. So I do think that, listen, guys, it was one of the coolest experiences I've ever been a part of. The atmosphere, the pageantry was incredible. I mean, I was blown away by the entire experience. So it was absolutely the coolest event that I've ever been a part of in my entire life. We have some work to do. The lines at the concession stand and beer sales and all of that was a little bit of a struggle. I think it's obvious. I'm not telling anybody or telling you guys anything that you wouldn't already know if you were at the venue. But so there's some work that we need to do. But I would say positively, it was incredible. Everyone walked away thinking that it was one of the coolest events they've experienced.
I would also say, like, with the complaints about, the beer sales, that was the second time Memorial has done that.
Right.
I don't think anybody was expecting it to be, fleshed out
Sure.
by, what was it, Wednesday.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was expecting that. There's time to learn, and I think it's honestly really beneficial to have that Garth Brooks and the Volleyball Day to give Memorial kind of an idea of, like, this is kind of what we're looking at and seeing where they can improve.
Absolutely. There's unique challenges with our venue, and we got to figure out our venue and how we can make the most of it, for sure.
So Adam Dessler, shout out on the TikTok. This might be some advice for you.
Okay.
So
I'm all ears.
So take it, run with it, whatever. He says, look at the Atlanta Falcon model.
Okay.
Cheap eats, cheap beers, etc. Keeps people in the seats.
Yeah.
So get in touch with someone from the Atlanta Falcon organization. See what they do.
They do a very good job. Yeah, they do a very good job. So they're and what he's describing, if you're not familiar, is like their popcorn's like $2. Their sodas are $1. They do very, very low cost concessions. And I think there's other stadiums around the country too that do like a happy hour, if you will. So the first hour of the venue being open,
I like
it's
that.
half price concessions. So there's some things that we look at that are pretty unique.
Yeah.
So I want to point out, you called it a soda. So I can tell you worked at Tennessee and Tulane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and I also say y'all a lot.
Oh, that's fair.
And it's I think it's just probably a habit that will die very hard after I spent some time in the South. But when I say it, people are like, "Where are you from?"
Why would I give my money to a Tennessee guy?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
mercenary.
I'm from
Tennessee guy.
AstroTurf.
born in Pender, raised in Des Moines. They're like, wait a second. That doesn't make sense.
Y'all.
Yeah. But no, that's a good point. You said his name was Adam.
Adam.
Yeah, that's a good point by Adam because, like, again, that's more friction, right? Like, I'm going to spend $120 to $150
Absolutely.
every Saturday. That's
Absolutely.
7 Saturdays out of the year.
Well, like, and I'll just say on social media, whenever you see like someone post concessions, it's always like, "Oh, I got my hot dog topped with Fruit Loops," and it's like, and it probably cost them $20. It's like, just get me a hot dog with some mustard on that, son bitch. Yeah. I'm a simple man.
I will. Oh wait, we haven't asked Tyler this question. Tyler, this is an internal argument. You get a hot dog.
Is this podcast is all internal, 100%?
Cameras on.
Well, we've had this argument with other people
You're
as
on
well.
TikTok.
Yeah, wait a second.
Yeah. You get a hot dog. What are you putting on it?
Mustard.
Oh, you're so wrong.
Boo.
That's I'm a big ketchup on hot dog, but mustard on corn dog. And I understand they're essentially the same damn thing.
That's really fascinating.
Ketchup on all.
Yeah, no, I'm
big ketchup guy.
I'll take it one step further. I'm not like I like yellow mustard just fine.
Yeah,
but I'm a big Dijon mustard, or spicy brown mustard. So I'll do spicy brown or Dijon on.
There's the Iowa in them right here.
Yeah,
right?
Before I would just do like a straight yellow mustard.
Give me a mustard with the seeds in it.
Yeah,
I like the hot mustard that makes my mouth burn.
I'm
Irish mustard.
Yep, I'm with you.
Just saying.
So you said you studied psychology.
I did
in college. So does that like the corn dog hot dog situation with the mustard and the ketchup? Is that
what's
some
your
sort of sociopath?
What's your
thing?
diagnosis?
Well, did you see me psychoanalysis? I did some psychoanalysis.
You don't have
interesting.
You don't have enough time to diagnose me.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Tell me more. What
you don't have enough time to diagnose me. Let's take it one step further, Tyler. What is your number one tailgate food?
And when was the last time you tailgated?
Oh, guys.
Because you talked about how miserable your game experience is. Because you're hearing it from me, and I'm a big tailgate guy. So that sounds miserable.
So while like outright true tailgating,
true.
I mean, it's probably been close to a decade. Okay, I've been at like a true tailgate.
We got to get him out of his ivory tower. We got to get him out of that.
Now, I visit a lot of tailgates on game day, but I can't partake in it. Right? It's more me visiting as many tailgates as I possibly can and seeing as many people as I can. But, there's something about chili on a cold day at a tailgate.
My dog.
We do that.
So good. That's so good. There's a few other tailgates, Nebraska tailgates that I'll visit. When we have a morning game, they do like a hash brown casserole, breakfast casserole. That's pretty good. There's some sausage in it. That's pretty solid. But it's hard to beat just like on a cold October, November Husker football game, some chili.
Yeah.
Hard to beat that.
We got a
really
tailgate
hard,
for
it's
you.
hard to beat.
Yeah.
It's really hard to beat.
When you're ready to get off your Jeff Bezos level,
You come down to us peons, and we got chili for you.
We got
okay. I like
Mike's got a chili connect. He's got a chili connect.
No, me and John, we literally make the chili from scratch the morning of. I mean, it would probably be better if we made it like the night before, but no, we make it from scratch right then and there. It is good.
At the tailgate?
At the tailgate. We make it from scratch. We bring the beans. We bring the meat. We bring everything. We put it in a big pot.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
So I'm not super in tune with the kids, but I think they call it a banger.
Yeah.
It goes dummy hard.
I'm not either. I have no idea what you just said to me.
Y'all.
Is it fire?
Yeah, it
is
could
another
be.
word?
That could be. Yeah.
I think that's what they say.
It is swell.
So here's what I will say. So I don't know if anyone else out there does this, and hopefully this does not get me in some hot water. But my wife and I, for our chili base or for like other soups, like a chicken tortilla or something, we will use Bloody Mary mix.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Okay. I don't
So
hate
it's already pre-seasoned. It depends on what you get, right? If you get a little spicy, you add a little extra spice.
Little zing-zang.
Yeah, it's good, right? So we use Bloody Mary mix as our base for our chili, and that's
a great idea.
You should try it. It's very, very good.
How would John
very,
feel?
Very
So
good.
John Grady listens to every episode.
Okay, we'll get his judgment.
Yeah, I will
we'll
tell
get his
him.
judgment. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, we literally crack the cans there, do all the beans, do everything on the spot, cook it all up. And then we do dogs, chili, cinnamon rolls, all that stuff at our tailgate.
Of course.
So
if you're not chili, you can't not do cinnamon rolls.
But I don't dip mine.
No,
like some
not
people
on the
like put the
spot.
chili on this. No, I don't do that. I just like eat it as a side.
Yeah, that's people that put the cinnamon roll in the middle, chili over the top. You're a lunatic. You're a lunatic.
Some of the things that you said tonight, I don't know.
Hey, I've said a lot of weird things every single episode since I've been here. If that's what does it, I don't know.
So the day that Tyler shows up to one of our tailgates for chili, we'll take a picture and we'll label it Tyler 2 phones and the chili dogs.
Oh, we're the dogs?
Oh,
yeah, we're going to be the chili dogs.
We're the chili dogs. All right.
That's pretty
We're going to
good.
be cold as hell, too.
Yeah.
Kyle, that's pretty good, dude.
That is good. I like that. I like that.
And I know you touched on this already, but I was just going to throw that number at you and just have you run with it. 92,003. And just like what it meant to you. And just like what it means to the sport of volleyball in the state, and just what does that number mean to you working at Nebraska?
It was incredible. So I had a lot of colleagues around the country send me messages that were watching the match, watching the entire spectacle of what it was. I mean, the pageantry was incredible the entire night. The things that were in our control, I felt like we did a really good job. But even the things that were outside of our control, like the weather, was unbelievable. It was
Thank God.
That's a top 5 night. So everything seemed to align. The thing that was interesting is that Iowa women's basketball is going to be trying to do a similar event at Kinnick. I got messages from folks at Tennessee that said we're thinking about doing something with Lady Vols at Neyland Stadium.
Okay.
And here's the deal. I will put Huskers up against anybody. So I hope they do it.
Right.
Do it.
Because listen, if you at Neyland Stadium, any of these Vols out there want to try it, let's go. Like, I think that's great. I think it only helps the sport. Right. I think it only helps elevate women's athletics. I think we should all try to aspire for that. So if the Lady Vols want to do it, I think that's fantastic. If women's basketball at Iowa wants to do it, I think it's fantastic, right? I will put our fans up against any other fan base in the country to show up every single time.
Even if they break it. Even if they break it.
We'll find a bigger venue.
Trailblazers, Pioneers.
Yep. We'll find a new venue. We'll add more seats. We'll find a way to do it. I mean, we will. So never underestimate Huskers. So I think I feel good about the record being ours. But I also was impressed because there was not that many great seats in the venue, and everyone stayed. That is probably the biggest accomplishment of everything. The people that had bad seats were still there, still cheering, still attentive. It was neat. It was really, really cool. So I appreciate all those fans that were in South Stadium or had seats up in the 600 level on the east side of the stadium that stayed. It was amazing. I mean, I think anybody who was there would say it was probably something they'll remember for the rest of their lives.
There's going to be people that weren't there that'll say they were there.
Yeah,
for sure. I hope so. That'd be great. That'd be great.
A question that we discussed. We were in Minnesota at the time.
Yeah.
We were up there to see the game.
Football.
But something we discussed, do you think what Nebraska did actually discourages universities from trying to break that record? Because if they attempt to and they fall short, it just...
What an interesting thght.
Yeah. What
an interesting thought.
It seems counterintuitive, but I mean, Nebraska has now set a mark that for a lot of places seems unattainable. So does that discourage somebody from trying, not necessarily doing a large format women's sports event, because obviously we're encouraging that.
Right.
I mean, that's a big reason why we did this. But does it discourage people from trying to go to the record? Because if they fall short, it's like...
Kinnick can't. Kinnick literally doesn't have a stadium big enough to do it, so...
Yeah.
Right, but then that's their built-in excuse, whereas with Neyland, they seat over 100K.
Neyland can do it.
So if they
could do it.
That's what I'm saying. If they're not able to, what's their built-in excuse? Whereas Kinnick, we don't have that many, so
they can't.
We're just doing a great event.
Yeah.
Again, they can't.
I think it is great
because remember that time we beat Iowa?
I think it's
every time.
It's great for promoting women's sports, but does this response, the first time we do this, does it discourage people from trying to go for that record?
I hope you're wrong.
I hope so too.
I hope you're wrong. I really do. I hope people view it more as a challenge. And I also think that people, because we talked about the difference between Nebraska, Tennessee, and Tulane, right?
Yeah.
Tulane needs to aspire to be the best Tulane they could possibly be, right? So Iowa women's basketball needs to aspire to be the best Iowa women's basketball they could possibly be. So if that means they get 70,000 at Kinnick,
that is cool.
Well done.
Incredible.
Well done, right? That's awesome. It's an absolutely incredible accomplishment. If the Lady Vols at Tennessee decide to try to do it and they get 90,000 and they don't break our record, well done.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, we're certainly in competition with each other, but I think we should always be in competition with ourselves. And that's why I appreciated the comment that one of the fans said to me on Wednesday was, we should try to break our record again.
Yeah.
So even if we didn't get the official record, let's say we got 89,000. Well, let's try to get 90 next time, right? Let's see if we can get 1,000 more people back out, right? And then the next time we try to do it, let's see if we can get another 1,000. So I just think that we've got to emphasize the importance of women's athletics, and really all athletics. I think I got into this business because the purity of what college athletics is, and that is that to me it's a unifier of all communities, right? It doesn't matter who you are, where you came from. When you wear Husker red on Saturdays, you're my buddy.
Yeah.
Right. That's what college athletics is all about. It unifies communities. So I think if we can find a way, whether it's a women's athletics event or a men's athletics event, to get as big of crowds as we possibly can to elevate the platform of the sport, that's a success.
Well, and I mean, listen, there's not a soul in that stadium that didn't understand the relevance of why they were there.
Yeah.
Forget the record.
You're right.
Forget that,
You're right? You're absolutely right.
You guys are an innovator in the fact that you moved a match like that. You created an event where 90,000 people could go watch it. It wasn't about the record. It was literally about Nebraska said, "Oh, you're going to let us fill this stadium and go watch women's volleyball."
Yep.
I'm sorry, this is probably really dumb, but what's the arena that Nebraska volleyball plays in?
The Devaney Center.
The Devaney Center, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
If there were 90,000 seats in the Devaney Center, you wouldn't have 92,000 people per se every single match. But what I'm saying is, you guys finally lifted the capacity and you said, well, look, we're going to bring it out here so everyone can get involved. And that was solely just to support Nebraska volleyball.
Right.
And so I don't think anybody overlooked the relevancy. It wasn't about the concert afterwards. It wasn't about any of that. It was literally about supporting women's athletics in Nebraska.
And you know what was probably even more impressive to me was going in for the UNK Wayne State match and seeing 50,000, 60,000 people in for that.
Wow.
Right. It wasn't like they only came to watch the Huskers. They came to watch volleyball.
Right.
And they wanted to support Wayne State and they wanted to support UNK. And that was pretty cool too. Right.
Yeah.
Like that was pretty neat. The moment the gates opened, we had people banging down the door to get in. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
So I tweeted, and tell me if I'm off base, and maybe I'm not, or maybe I am, but I said that.
I'm not sure.
No. Okay, Trev.
Neither is
I'll tell you.
Trev is so competitive, and he knows how passionate Husker fans are, that we broke a world record because he knew we could.
Yeah.
Am I far off by saying that?
Well, I think it goes to, you never want to underestimate a Husker fan base. You just never do, right? Don't underestimate us. Don't count us out, because we show up every single time. And so I think, yes, Trev is competitive. I think that spawns from his him being an athlete himself and him just really having high expectations for the Huskers. So I think like he wants us to reach high and do as much as we possibly can to make this place as good as it possibly can be.
There's nothing to do in Nebraska. There's no beaches.
We don't care.
Yeah.
We have sports.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And we show up every time.
I think the best answer I've ever heard to that is that, what else is there to do in Nebraska? And the response was, what more could you want?
Right.
We are a simple folk. We are a simple people.
Easy to please.
What more could you want? I mean,
see ball going whole.
Look at how
see ball get ball.
Look at how our community
no block, no
supports
rock.
our community.
No block, no rock.
Dog. I love it.
That's what I heard.
Dog.
That's what the kids are saying.
No block, no rock, y'all.
I hope the kids are saying that. Good receivers.
No, but hey, you're right. You're right. And listen, we need to be the best Nebraska we can possibly be.
Yeah.
Right. Let's be comfortable in our own skin. This is an incredible state. We have an incredible amount of resources, and that's our people. I think the community. I've lived in a lot of places, guys, and the people don't have the same amount of pride for their own hometown, where they're from, the schools they cheer for, the high schools they went to, or the high schools they cheer for, as much as our people do. And there's something to be said for that. There really is. I think it can be viewed as being very one cellular, but I think that there's something pure about that.
Yeah.
Like we know what's important to us and we stick to our values. I don't think there's anything we should be ashamed about that at all.
Yeah.
I really don't.
100%.
I really don't.
Because sports is not just sports. There's underlying, it goes so much deeper than just, like I know I was making a joke about it. See ball, get ball, no block, no rock.
Heck yeah.
It's like like you said, it's community.
Yep.
It's it's hard work. You always hear about hard work in the state and how sports is just a conduit to show that. So,
well, let me ask you a question. Each of you, I want you to answer this. Okay. So you've been asking me questions for going on about 7 hours now.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like with those lights.
I'm just kidding.
You're feeling the heat under the lights, are you? He's all sweaty, like Newman on Seinfeld.
What was the first Husker game you remember?
Just like ever.
First Husker,
okay.
This first Husker memory. What is it?
This is a story I always tell. Is I remember the 98 Orange Bowl.
Okay.
Beating Tennessee.
Yep.
And my dad taking me to Dodge Street.
I love it.
So like when people say you weren't around, I'm like, no, I was on Dodge Street watching people hang on light poles. Okay, I saw that.
Yeah,
and I want to see it again.
Absolutely.
I want to be the one hanging up the light pole.
Connor,
I would say mine was, God, and I'm estimating on year. I believe it was either 01 or 02. But it was Nebraska-Mizzou. It was the first Husker game I went to, and I was fortunate enough to get to sit in a box. And the reason I remember that game was not because I sat in a box. It was because I got to, like as a kid, I was very young, meet other Husker fans and meet Mizzou fans. And it was incredible because everyone was there for the same reason.
Yeah.
Because we supported Nebraska or supported Mizzou. But it was incredible. I know we're all Husker fans.
Yep.
Yep. And no one that's listening to the show is not a Husker fan. But I've been to a lot of stadiums. I know Mike's been to more. Shut up.
Yeah.
But I will, to this day, tell you that there is no place in the world like Memorial Stadium.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
No place.
How can you not be romantic about Husker football?
Yeah. Mike, what about you?
I don't know. I would say my dad and my grandpa had season tickets through the 80s and 90s. And so I think the first time I got my first season ticket was probably like my favorite memory, I would say.
Yeah.
It's like,
love it.
I did it.
I love it.
Yeah. And I was like 21. So it was pretty freaking cool. I'm like, yeah, I'm 21 and I have season tickets. So.
That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not going to say my first game, but what I will say is my grandma Linda out of Springfield has been painting player portraits for my family since 1994. So that went on for 28 years. Scott was our last painting that we received. And every year at Christmas, she would walk in and there'd be this, wrapped up portrait. We knew what it was. She'd walk in with it and we would know exactly who we talked about all year, who we chose to be painted. And so my basement is literally lined with 30 different portraits of paintings in my house. And I'm talking, those are memories that will last a lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
Last a lifetime. And going to meet the players and get them signed, or the coaches and getting them signed, and talking to my grandma about Husker football my whole life. Like, yeah, it doesn't get any better than that.
Well, and that's it. Like, so if you guys ever hear me complain about what I get to do every single day, just remind me what I get to do every single day.
Right.
Okay, guys, I'm serious. Because I get to hear stories like that all the time, and they're all unique. They're all really important. And I just think it goes back to what makes this place so special is the amount of, like, how impressionable are those moments? Like, you will never forget those moments.
Yeah.
You'll never forget the first time you walk into Memorial Stadium or the Vandy Center or your Pinnacle Bank Arena. You'll never forget the first time that you high-fived a player after a game down or in the tunnel walk.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You'll never forget those moments. Right? I've got a 3-year-old son, and he is probably the most proud of any Husker fan I've ever met in my entire life. Every time he sees the block end, he says, "Daddy's work."
Yeah.
Every time. And he knows the difference between a football game and a men's basketball game, that there are fireworks at football games. There are not fireworks at men's basketball games. Right. So it's just cool, right? Like I think back on me growing up a Husker fan and me growing up revering these players and watching them every single Saturday on our TV and playing in the backyard, pretending to be these players, right? And we all have those memories, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That's not unique to me, but I'll never forget that. And then I think about my own son and how he's sort of reliving a little bit the same that I had.
Yeah.
But he gets to do it in a much cooler environment. I didn't basically have free keys to Memorial Stadium to walk out on the field.
Right.
You couldn't point
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You couldn't point at your dad and go, Nebraska.
That's right.
Dad's
Daddy's work. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty neat. So, but it's just cool. Like it's fun to be able to have those conversations, and it's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
Right? We do it to win championships, but we also do it because there's a lot of people behind us that care about it.
Generations of people.
No doubt.
My mom, my first home game was 03 Penn State. Like probably the most boring game. If you rewatch that game, it's very boring. But my mom still gives me crap to this day because I was like, "Mom, can we be the last people to leave?" Because I just didn't want to leave. And she's like, "I remember taking you. You wanted to be the last person in the stadium." with my glasses, my glasses that weren't on straight.
Yeah.
I was kind of a little nerd.
That's okay.
Still am. That's
Yeah.
without
Okay,
the
man.
glasses.
Hey, I'm a nerd too. That's all right.
You know what I mean?
We're nerds together.
We love Mary.
Yeah, she's a very nice lady. Did you guys have anything else you want to
No,
touch on?
I think that is the best way to end this
It
episode.
is. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. I appreciate you gentlemen having me on.
Yeah,
This has been
thank
a lot,
you
it's
for-
been a lot of fun. It really has.
Thank you for
what
coming
you do.
out. And
Thank you.
Coming
And
in.
This is where we, ask you to look in the camera, plug yourself. Where can people send you and the University of Nebraska money?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully if anyone's on social media, they know that I try to be as approachable as I possibly can on social media. So send me a DM, tweet at me. I try to reply to as much as I possibly can. I just appreciate what everybody does for the Huskers. Everyone's got their own stories and has their own role and how they can help us, really win championships and do what we need to do. So thank you for that. And my email is on the website. So I'm not telling anybody what they don't already know, but it's tkai@huskers.com. If you ever want to send me an email, I'd be happy to reply to that email too, to answer any questions or do what I can to connect people back to the Huskers. So
Love it.
Okay. Tyler Kai, Associate Idea of Leadership Gifts and winning gifts.
Winning gifts.
Dog. Yeah. Dog. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thanks, gentlemen.
All right.
Go Big Red.
Go Big Red indeed. At No Block No Rock, at NBNR Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads. I mean, we don't use Threads.
No, we have.
YouTube.
Yeah, we're gonna work
Kyle,
on that. We're gonna work on that.
Listen, Kyle's gonna do it.
Gonna get it together.
He's made some, I don't want to say promises, but
yeah.
Okay. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we are there. Give us a 5-star review. We are at, the last time I looked, we were at 70 reviews on Spotify, 4.9. So there was one bitter person out there who didn't give us a 5-star review.
Yeah.
It's fine. We get it. You're jealous. You're jealous. We get it. I don't blame you.
It's dipping to 4.7 after this show.
Oh, no.
Tyler Kai.
Doubt it.
That Tennessee guy that wouldn't give you money.
Mercenaries.
All right, guys. Sign off.
Yep.
I'm one of your hosts, Jared Hall.
Mike Delaware.
Kyle Byers.
Connor Cadillac.
Tyler Kai.
There it
AKA
TK Hot Takes, TK Two Phones.
Oh, TK2 phones.
Let's go.
As always, beat Colorado
Yes, sir.
in GBR.